Are you avoiding things out of fear of having a panic attack? You're not alone. Welcome back to Men's Mental Health. I'm Dr. D, and this video is all about ways to find relief from those panic attacks. So I want you to be able to get back to the things that you enjoy. And we're going to go through 7 very fast, simple, effective tools and techniques to use to give you some kind of relief from panic attacks or prevent them from even happening. And I'm putting them in a very specific order. And when we get to number 7, you'll find out why I did it in this order. So now let's go ahead and begin. First one, number 1, is humor. Humor is very effective. It releases dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins. These are kinds of things, hormones that make us feel good. So the dopamine makes us feel good. Oxytocin gives us kind of like a warm, fuzzy kind of feeling. Endorphins help your body release stress, and it'll lift your mood. Humor releases all 3 of those, which is very effective. And that's a great cocktail if you want one. Good thing to do is kind of have a go-to joke or maybe some humorous memories that you have. My go-to, okay, it may not sound funny. I mean, when I think about it, it's funny to me, and that's what matters. Many years ago, when my son was about 2-3 years old, I didn't know where he was. He was somewhere in the house, but I had no idea where. I'm looking all around, going from place to place, room to room. And I'm in the kitchen. All of a sudden, I hear this noise. I open up the pantry door, and there he is on the second shelf, just munching away on all the snacks he can find. To me, that's a go-to. That's my go-to. If I'm feeling like I need something humorous, I can think of that event anytime I want. And it's going to give me that release of the endorphins, the oxytocin, and the dopamine to help lift my mood. And lifting my mood is going to be the opposite of going into that panic attack, feeling that stress. So that kicks in those hormones. And now number 2, after humor, comes changing worry to concern. Okay, I get it. It's just a semantic difference. Worry, concern, what's the difference? Worry implies I can't do anything about it. I'm just stuck. I'm going to wallow in that worrying, and I can't do anything about it. And people will literally wallow in there. They will get stuck in that thought and the emotion, feeling worried. If I change it to feeling concerned, it's telling my brain I can do something about that. I know how to fix it. If I'm concerned about something, it's something that I can take care of and resolve. When I have that change from worry to concern, I'm not going to let myself get caught up in the avoidance. Worry is going to lead to that avoidance. It's going to lead to a panic attack. Stop it. Change it to a concern. Figure out something to do. Come up with your plan of action of what you can do about that. Feeling concerned and panic attacks don't go hand in hand. Worry and panic attacks do. Change it from worry to concern. So now, instead of avoiding things out of fear of having a panic attack, I'm taking back control by being concerned and developing a plan of action. There's number 2, changing worry to concern. Number 3 is the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve is actually the largest nerve in our body. It goes from our brain pretty much through all the organs, and it is tied in with things like our heart rate, our blood pressure, our digestion. It's also tied in with fight or flight, which is where these anxiety attacks are starting from. The vagus nerve tells our body to go ahead and release that cortisol, release the adrenaline. So in this one, number 3, I'm going to give you some tools to use to help soothe, relax, actually massage the vagus nerve. All right, so number 1, you want to breathe in and out through your nose. The vagus nerve goes through your nose, so you want to breathe in and out through your nose. That is helping to massage the vagus nerve. Another one, the ears. Okay, so I'm going to take your fingers like that, and you're going to hold your ear, not pinch it. Don't pinch it. You're going to hold your ear, and you're going to roll it. Okay? I'm going to do it with both my ears. I'm going to roll them forward 5 times. Now I'm going to roll them backwards 5 times. Okay, I was talking while I was doing that. I have no idea if I counted right. It's not that 5 is a magic number. You want to roll them forward, roll them backwards. There's another part of the ear up in here where there's like this little split area. So you can massage that. Same concept. And really, you don't want to push hard. You just want to push firmly enough, snugly enough, so that it's moving the skin. Okay? It's just relaxing the nerve. How's that feeling? Give it a shot if you haven't already. Give it a shot. You might notice an immediate feeling from that. Immediate bit of relief. All right, last piece, number 3 for the vagus nerve, is our throat. So it goes down, the vagus nerve goes down through our throat. And the way to hum it is, or the way to massage it is to hum. So some deep resonant humming. So if you're old enough, if you're old like me, you know who Barry White is. Super deep voice. And that low resonant hum creates that vibration, which helps massage the vagus nerve going right through here. And personally, I actually do this while I'm doing it. So you can do that. So breathing through your nose, the ear, the throat. Drink some cold water. That's another way to massage the vagus nerve in your throat. All right, so there's the vagus nerve. Now, let's say that you're still feeling it and you need to work a little more on the relaxation and relief from the panic attack. Number 4, talk to somebody. Change the topic when you talk to somebody. So you want to change the topic in a conversation. Now, you might already be in the middle of a conversation. That's when you're going to change it, or you might need to initiate a conversation. If you're going to initiate the conversation, you want to have a go-to. Me, sports. That's my go-to. If I need to, or if I'm feeling like I want to have a conversation, I'm going to go to sports. That's my go-to. But if I'm at work, my coworkers are going to look at me cross-eyed if I start talking sports. So I might ask about their family, any plans for the weekend coming up. Just some light, relaxing, pleasant conversation. Notice I use that word pleasant. Keep it pleasant. There's no sense having a stressful conversation. That is not what we want. You want a pleasant conversation. And you want to go to, for like for me, sports are my go-tos. What's important is that changing the conversation or initiating a pleasant conversation is changing your thoughts. And that's giving you some instant relief from those symptoms that can go into a panic attack. Now, what would you do? How would you start a conversation with somebody? What would be your go-to for a pleasant conversation? You want to have an idea in mind. All right, so number 4 was changing to a pleasant conversation or having a pleasant conversation. Number 5 is when you're feeling overwhelmed or out of control. So in this one, I want you to start thinking of a pleasant place. And typically when I'm working with somebody in my office, they'll go to a beach or the mountains. Those are the 2 most common. So for our exercise right here, we are actually going to do this, and we're going to go to the beach. So what I want you to do is get yourself comfortable if you aren't already. I hope you are. Get yourself into a comfortable position. All right, I'm hoping I gave you enough time. Now, I want you to close your eyes and think of the beach. Now, as you're thinking of the beach, start thinking about some of the things that you see at the beach. You might see the sun, the sky, the blue sky. You see the ocean, see the sand. You might see some other families. Could be just you. This is your thought. So you get to imagine whatever you want. That's what's really important. It's what you want it to be. Okay. So you're seeing all these different things. Well, what are you feeling? You might be feeling the warmth of the sun. You might be feeling the warmth of the air. I bet you can feel the sand under your feet. That's a very distinct feeling. Now imagine that you get up and you're walking towards the water. And you can feel the sand as you're walking. And as you're walking, as you get closer to the water, you might even feel a temperature difference in the sand where it's already been splashed over by the waves. Keep going. Dip yourself into the water. You can feel that water on your feet. You can feel the difference in the temperature between the air and the water splashing on you. Now, you got see, you got feel. I want you to listen. Listen for some sounds. You might hear some birds. You might hear the seagulls out there. You can definitely hear the waves lapping up against the beach. So listen for the sounds. You might even hear some people. You might hear some boats out there. You might hear people swimming, whatever it might be. If you're imagining other families, you might hear kids having all sorts of fun. So notice what you hear. Next thing, what do you smell? The ocean has a very distinct odor. I love the smell of the ocean. It's just, to me, it's such a soothing odor. So imagine what that would smell like. All right. So there's that guided imagery, and go ahead and feel free to press the pause button and take a few moments to continue enjoying that image. What I want you to do is to open up your eyes if you haven't already, and recognize that in that imagery, I incorporated each of the senses. Well, every of the senses except for taste. But you can bring that one in as well. You know, if you're used to having chips that get sand in them at the beach, feel free. You know, this is your imagery. Nice thing about it is that it's forcing us to focus on something different. And you want it to be a pleasant place. Like I said, the beach, the mountains are the two most common when I ask people for an environment that would be pleasing for pleasant for them, calming environment. But it's not the only two. I've had other people give me other things. Those just happen to be the two most common. You got to go with what works for you. All right, so while the imagery is good for when you're feeling out of control or overwhelmed kinds of things going on, number 6 is really super simple. This is where you just find some distractors. Some common things that people tell me are effective for distractions are music, playing a video game, playing cards, having a conversation. That's a great distractor as well. Drinking some water. If you're in the car, put the window down. So those are just some examples of distractors. The idea is that you are distracting yourself off of whatever thoughts were leading into those feelings of distress and pushing into those anxiety attack symptoms. So use those distractors as a way to change it up. What would you use as distractors? What would work for you? You got to go with what works for you, man. That's a common thing. When I'm talking with my clients, when I'm talking to people, I often stress, and I stress hard, you got to work what works for you. All right, so there's number 6, distractors. Now in number 7, we're going to put it all together. All right, number 7. Number 7 is called the think, feel, do cycle. And if you've been watching me, you've heard me talk about it before, and I have a video, Master Your Emotions, the think, feel, do cycle, which will give you much more detail on it. The think, feel, do cycle is actually all of these 6, the first 6 ones, related directly to that. The first one, humor, targets thinking. The second one, change worry to concern, targets feeling. The third one, massaging the vagus nerve, targets doing. The fourth one, getting into a conversation, changing the conversation, is a way to change those thoughts. The fifth one is about changing those feelings of overwhelm and out of control through imagery. And the sixth one, something to do. Get those distractors. And so if you watch that other video, you're going to hear me say, if you want to change your life, change your thoughts. That is the most powerful tool you have. And that video is very effective. It's a great video on what that think, feel, do cycle is all about. So I recommend you check that one out. Anyways, those are the 7 fast, simple, and highly effective tools and techniques you can use to give yourself some relief from panic attacks. Now, I hope you found this helpful. And if so, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. If you have ideas of your own that can help us out, please share them in the comments section. Or if you have questions, put those in there. Once again, I'm Dr. Doug. This is Men's Mental Health. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.